Hi Bookworm, so today I'm going to do a review of Memoirs of a Suburban Girl. This is one of the People's Choice Award books. So it's a South Australian published book, published by Wakefield Press, written by, I believe, a South Australian author based in South Australia. So generally the general gist of this story is there's this girl who in the late 70s, early 80s, meets this guy, ends up in a relationship with him, which ends up being an abusive relationship, in which he beats her. And it's pretty much her side of the story, or well, from the position of the girl, and how she struggles to leave, and how she gets 2 jobs and he stays unemployed, and things like that, and how and the constant fear she has that anything she does could turn out to sort of irritate him and send him on a violent spree. Well, not really spree, but yeah. It's actually written in second person, which I thought was an interesting way to write the whole book. It's one of those books you need, because it's written in second person, you need to sit there and read the whole book if you can in one go. Otherwise you sort of go away from it and you forget it's in second person and you come back and you get a bit confused. I found that because I put it down. I put it down and then came back to it, and I had forgotten that it was in second person, so I assumed it was in first person, and then got a little confused when there are a fair few U's in there, and that's when I sort of realised where my mistake was in forgetting that it was written in second person. So yeah, it's a really well written book. I think it really does grip the fear factor a lot. It doesn't mention any names, which is really interesting, so you don't have too many associations with particular names most of the time. I mean, there's 1 or 2 times where there are names mentioned, but it's usually that person, this person, and nicknames are given to people. Even the abusive boyfriend doesn't actually have a name. He's just given initials. I thought it was a really interesting way of portraying it, so that your preconceptions about a particular name won't actually come into play in this book at all. It's mostly just nicknames and personalities that are commented on, and that's how the characters are described. Even the main character's name, the girl who gets into this abusive relationship, doesn't actually have a name. She doesn't have a name at all. Her sister's mentioned once or twice, and even she doesn't have a name. So most of the time, a lot of the characters don't actually have names. They're just so-and-so's brother or so-and-so's sister, or given initials, or mum and dad, and things like that, and a particular friend or best friend, and that's all. There isn't a lot in there. And I think that was a great way to sort of just present the argument, so that, especially because it's written in second person, I mean, when you write in second person, you sort of, when you read second person as well, you sort of feel you're drawn into that story, that it's actually happening to you, maybe because of all the yous, and you know, this is happening to you, and you think this, and you think that, and it's not, it doesn't feel pushy. Sometimes when authors use second person, it feels a bit pushy, like, you know, this is happening to you, you go here, you think this, it feels a bit pushy, but I didn't feel that at all in this. It was just that I forgot and then got a little confused. Apart from that, I think it's a great book. I recommend it. It's a really good book. It's not a very long book. I think it's only 158 pages, so it's not a very long book. I read it in a day or 2. Yeah, it's actually a really good book, and I highly recommend it. If you get the chance to read it, definitely pick it up and have a quick squiz of it, because it is really good. It's quite well written. Probably because I am South Australian, I picked up some of the things, like they mentioned particular streets like Hindley Street and Main North Road and a few things like that that I knew, so I understood in relation to, you know, what that meant, the connotations to it, you know, Hindley Street being a sort of red light district. And, you know, a few other roads and streets and things and places that I could relate to, and certain things like mentioning the Bay, mentioning Glenelg and things, and knowing where that was in relation to everything else, and the social standing and the social class associated with it,